Hey everyone, Shakarez here. Today, I wanted to go over a different jungle path that I've been seeing over the last couple of weeks. If you watched G2 vs SK in week 6 of the LEC, you might have noticed that Jankos did a very different and interesting path on Pantheon. He went Wolves into Raptors into Krugs, leaving up both his buff camps. And on Rek'Sai against Vitality, he did a similar route, doing Wolves Red Krugs. The week before, Selfmade did a Wolf start route on Rek'Sai as well. So, why start Wolves and what is the overall plan with this? For starters, it's leashless, meaning the jungler starts on his own and gets no help from his laners. Wolves are also a fairly easy camp to clear solo. Having a leashless start allows players to go to lane immediately and set up. In the top lane, it seems to me that Wunder's goal was to pull the wave, which would result in the second wave of the top lane reinforcing for SK first, and thus creating a slow push towards the G2 side, giving Wunder more safety at the time of a potential gank timing. If Kennen had been leashing for the jungler, he could have done it as he would have been in lane first. But more importantly than that, G2's bot lane is playing Taliyah Thresh, a combination that wants to grab early leads and dominate the laning phase. By not leashing, they ensure they can be in lane early and get to level 2 first, forcing their opponent back and giving them the opportunity to slowly start killing minions to stack waves and create a slow push. In the meantime, Jankos does these 3 camps and looks for a dive bot, which he commits to once he sees the enemy jungler on the top side of the map with the ward that he had placed earlier. G2 wants to attempt this dive as Pantheon is one of the few junglers that can pull it off, using E to tank tower shots. While the dive doesn't pan out, it achieves something meaningful. It zones out SK's bot lane from important experience and gold. G2 get a turret plate and jump ahead with a 300 gold lead for caps as well as an experience advantage. After the dive attempt, Jankos does the bot side scuttle and goes for a gank mid. In the meantime, Perkz had set up a freeze mid. This forces Jenax to consistently overextend to kill minions and leads to a perfect gank position and first blood for G2. The other advantage of this route is that doing the non-buff camps as early as possible means they respawn earlier. Pantheon doesn't really rely on blue buff to clear the jungle, and this is a very fast 3-camp route that now grants level 3 after the 10.3 changes. In addition, this opens up the possibility of a blue handoff, especially if you're ahead in experience and have multiple camps up to clear. With his wolves up and raptors respawning, Jankos goes back to the jungle, clearing red into raptors into top scuttle, and then hands his first blue buff to Perkz. Jankos has accrued enough of a lead from farming camps, grabbing both scuttles, and getting a kill in mid lane, so this isn't a big deal for him and it allows Perkz to get even more pressure in the mid lane. Now, the other advantage of the Wolves start being leashless is that you can fake a leash. Let's take a look at Fnatic's match against Rogue. In this match, Fnatic's bot lane show up in lane immediately, while Bwipo stays around his Krugs for a couple of seconds before walking into lane, pretending to be leashing for his jungler. With the information that Bwipo is late to lane, Rogue probably assumed Selfmade started on red buff, as red Krugs Raptors is a fairly common 3-camp path for Rek'Sai that also grants level 3. Instead, Selfmade does Wolves Gromp Blue. This pathing allows him to look for a bot side gank, which could catch opponents off guard. With Syndra pushing in Ornn in the mid lane, Selfmade looks for a gank opportunity in this lane. Unfortunately for Fnatic, when Larssen pushed up, he warded the enemy Raptors and noticed they were up, which alerts him that something fishy might be up. If Bwipo had indeed leashed for Selfmade at red buff, it would mean that the most common routes would have been red into Krugs into bot side camps, or just red into bot side camps. With Inspired moving towards the top side, Larssen positions more towards the top side of the lane and doesn't overextend, which also doesn't allow Selfmade to gank. In any case, I like the idea from Fnatic with the fake leash and the start on the other side of the jungle to look to surprise their opponents, so I wanted to highlight it. Anyways, that's going to be it for today. So far, I've mainly seen this Wolves camp start on Rek'Sai, Pantheon, Zac, and Gragas with different 3-camp combinations. I hope this helped you, and perhaps you can use this in your own games if you play jungle at a higher MMR and your laners aren't willing to help you out. See you next time.